All right, a happy late Tuesday morning if you are in the Eastern time zone here. A chilly morning across the United States, a chilly morning down here in Southwest Florida where we're hitting temperatures in the low 40s. Hopefully, everyone is doing great. We were not planning on doing a video today. But in light of Nico Harrison being let go, as Shams reported, I figured we would do something quick since this will be reported on throughout the day. I think I have NBA Today later today. We started to get wind of it last week. I was out in LA and Tim McMahon was out there. We sat next to each other during the Lakers game on Wednesday night, San Antonio, and we were watching their loss that night to New Orleans, and then they lose to Memphis on Friday, and then barely squeak out a win on Saturday against the Wizards, and then of course we know they lose at home to Milwaukee. The rumblings were already starting regarding Nico Harrison's job status. They probably were starting after Luka got traded. I will say this, kind of a couple different ways to go here. When you have a new ownership change, I always say this, whenever there's a new ownership change, when Patrick Dumont buys a team from Mark Cuban, part of the ownership process is not the NBA gives a manual on how to run a team or how to build a roster or conduct trades. As we can say, this was baptism under fire for Patrick Dumont, who, let's face it, signed off on the Luka Doncic trade. This was not Nico Harrison going behind his back. This was an owner who was out publicly, basically claiming whether it was Luka's weight or his desire, his play on the court or his availability, that, certainly the trade was made, and it talked glowingly about Anthony Davis. But now when was that trade? We're about 9 months later, and this Mavericks roster is sinking right now. They're 3-8. They rank the second worst in offensive efficiency. Defensively has kind of kept them in games here. There is no Kyrie Irving. There is no Anthony Davis. And Luka Doncic is flourishing in Los Angeles. So you kind of tie all this in together and you get certainly the public backlash that has been going on since February. You watched the game last night against Milwaukee. They're down, I think, 2, and with a minute left, and there's fire Nico Harrison chants in that arena. And this was not going to die down, especially for a Maverick team that's had a considerably favorable home schedule to start this. So as I said, you live and you learn when you're an owner. Unfortunately for Patrick Dumont, you don't get a do-over in the Luka trade here. I will say this, and I guess it's kind of like, how did we get here? Well, we know how we got here. The Luka trade basically did him in, but Nico Harrison was hired in June of 2021. I put up a graphic, kind of all the trades they've made. They've made 16 trades since then. I would say he is probably one of the more aggressive GMs out there. I feel like whenever we wrote our trade guide, it was always about how Dallas turned their roster over. As Tim McMahon said, the only player left on the roster that he inherited was Dwight Powell. There are 7 players left on that 2024 Western Conference Finals team that went to the finals and lost to Dallas. I think Powell is probably the only player left from that Mavericks team that lost to Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. An ultra aggressive general manager who is constantly looking to change the parts of the roster. For the most part, it was the parts of the roster to fit along with Luka Doncic on that team. When you look at what they've been able to do, when you trade the Porzingis trade for Dinwiddie and Bertans, the Kyrie Irving trade, which was at the time and is still at the time a good value trade. You got to get Irving back on the court. When you flip Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith and a first in 2029 and 2 seconds for Irving, that was a good value trade, right? Constantly trying to change the parts of the roster. You trade for PJ Washington, that cost you a first in the Charlotte deal. You trade for Daniel Gafford from the Wizards, that cost you a first with Washington. That was in what was that, in the 2023 trade deadline, I want to say. Let me just look. I am looking at my graphic. PJ and where are these guys? 2024 trade deadline. Gafford and PJ, and those guys played a big role in helping get Dallas to the NBA Finals here. I think where things started to go downhill, and we can go back to the offseason of 2024. When the Klay Thompson sign and trade acquisition has turned out to be a nightmare. He is a shell of himself. He's coming off the bench. That contract, although it's in the $16 million range, is not appealing, and you still owe another year left. Letting Derrick Jones Jr. go to basically get Thompson, I believe, has backfired on them. I know Najee Marshall comes in as a replacement and is on a pretty good value deal, but the Jones going to the Clippers, and there was a lot going on there with the agent change and him going to Rich Paul, and there was a lot of different things going on that played a role. I like the Quentin Grimes trade when you acquired him from Detroit for Tim Hardaway Jr. And I did like some of the things that Dallas was able to do pre-Luka trade. Now we fast forward to February of 2025. Ironically, we have this graphic up, and it's page 2. Page 2 is what has doomed Nico Harrison. When you look at the Luka trade, and we don't have to go into full detail, and I do remember going on ESPN the next morning, Sunday morning, I said, I get it. I understand from a Dallas perspective of why they made the trade and how they see about building out their roster and getting Anthony Davis and pairing him with Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively and going big. I didn't agree that basically now you say, like, well, now we have a 3 or 4 year window. Well, wait a minute. You just had a generational player on your roster that basically could have kept the window open for the next 8 years. I do understand, and having been with an organization for a long time, when, let's face it, you get tired of a player. You get tired of their work habits. You get tired of the personality. I remember when I was in New Jersey and Brooklyn with Billy King, and he had Allen Iverson in Philadelphia, and he said, like, you just deal with it. When you have a generational player, when you have a top 5 player, when you have an All-NBA and MVP, you deal with it. You figure out how to make it work. I do understand that basically it ran its course, at least from Dallas's perspective. And Luka gets traded to the Lakers. And then the return is what the problem is when you're analyzing this trade. If you said to me today, you could have got Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves and a first or whatever, I could have said, well, maybe you could probably justify that a little bit here. But based on what the return is, and based on Anthony Davis not being available, that has doomed, or did doom, Nico Harrison. And then you look at the transformation of Luka in LA as far as where he is. I saw him last week in that San Antonio game, and he looks phenomenal from a physical standpoint here. Then you made the Quentin Grimes trade where you sent him to Philadelphia for Caleb Martin, who is not part of your rotation. And you basically had the opportunity to basically fail Martin on his physical, but you let the trade go through and you got an additional compensation. And Grimes, as we wrote in our piece on on Monday on ESPN.com. He's one of the better free agents next offseason here. He's on our all free agent or all contract team free agent group. He's been tremendous in Philadelphia. He was tremendous in the second half of this year. And people said, well, wait a minute. It's probably the games didn't mean anything. He can go out and get 25, 30 points a game. Well, now you look at things when there's better talent around him, when you get Tyrese Maxey back and VJ Edgecombe and Jared McCain and Kelly Oubre is playing better and Joel Embiid is back and Philadelphia is 6-4 and are competitive. And Grimes is averaging 18, 19 points and he's averaging starter minutes but coming off the bench. That was a colossal failure. Not at the Luka level, but that was a colossal failure. So that is the track record of Nico Harrison. As I said, one of the most aggressive general managers out there. 16 trades later, and the two that happened this past February are the ones that have done him in. Of course, you cannot plan that Kyrie Irving was going to tear his ACL. But as I said, the lack of availability of Anthony Davis and what Luka is doing in Los Angeles is probably the final nail in the coffin. And for Mavericks fans out there, you got what you wanted. I want to say, well, you got what you wanted. Now it's all about moving forward and what happens next. As Shams reported, Matt Riccardi, who was actually an intern for me back in the day, and is terrific at his job. And they also have Andrew Baker there, and Michael Finley will be, I guess, co-GMs or co-GMs in the interim basis here to figure out where they are. There's no silver wand to fix what's going on in Dallas right now. You're 3-8. You got to get Anthony Davis back. Eventually, Kyrie will get back. And you can say there's injuries, but there's injuries across the league here. I mean, the Lakers are, what are they, 8-2, 9-2, and they've had a shell of their roster here. But you have Luka, who is a top 3 or 4 player, generational, on your roster. What happens next here? Well, you're kind of in a holding pattern. You would probably love to get another a point guard on your roster. You went out and got D'Angelo Russell. I don't see that as the fit for where this team is. We'll see where this roster goes when we get closer to the trade deadline. And I think that the big question is going to be, how much authority does Matt and Michael Finley have to go out and make trades when, if the plan is to bring in a different front office or a new front office here? That's going to be interesting for me. They're hard capped at the second apron. They're $1.29 million below. That was because of the D'Angelo Russell signing. You are in a holding pattern financially as far as where you are. You can't take back more money in a trade. Next year, listen, they're projected luxury tax and first apron team in 26-27. They're only $4.6 million below the second apron. That's next year. We know about the draft picks as far as what they have available. They have their own in 2026. That is a God's blessing. They can't trade that. The only tradable picks they have is the 2029 Lakers first. That's unprotected. And they have either their first in 2031 or 2032. From 2027 to 2030, they have no control over the first round, whether they owe Charlotte and Brooklyn or Houston, or there's swap rights in there, swap rights with the Thunder, and there's also swap rights with San Antonio, which could backfire. The swap rights with Oklahoma City is 28, with San Antonio is in 2030. Right now, you've got restrictions. I'm working on actually a trade guide, kind of just a worksheet. There's restrictions on Dante Exum, Kyrie, D'Angelo Russell, PJ Washington can't be traded. The players I mentioned before can't be traded until December 15th. And that is where you are with your roster. You got to get healthy. Lively's been out. Gafford's back. AD, as I mentioned. The Clay contract is sitting there. You've got some, for a team that we all thought had some pretty good depth, there's some dead weight on this roster here. Max Christie's been fine for you, but when you look at Powell, when you look at Martin, when you look at Thompson, There's been some dead weight as far as here. You got to figure out how you can get a facilitator on your roster and who is going to be the sacrifice. If I was in the front office, I would try to get Anthony Davis's value back to where it was, and I would probably look to try to move off him. You can't look at in the back what's happened in the back, especially if this is a new front office, or even if Matt or Michael Finley are there. You can't look at what you did in the past, and that's what Patrick Dumont said. Like, listen, it already happened. I'm going to basically go with a different front office or a different general manager. The Luka trade happened. You can't do anything about it. But how do you go about fixing and figuring out how to make this team better in the short term and the long term? So if it was me, I would probably look out to move off Anthony Davis, who's got 3 years left. He's got a player option in 2027, $54 million. It's a big number. It's a big number for a guy that can't stay healthy. So that is it. Nico Harrison is out. We will talk soon. We'll probably have something up today on ESPN.com. Have a good day.
Basketball. Austin Reaves feels great after returning from groin injury. The Los Angeles Lakers got a major boost on Monday night when Austin Reaves returned to the lineup against the Charlotte Hornets after missing 3 games with a groin injury, and he wasted no time reminding everyone how important he is. In the Lakers' double-digit win, Reaves played 29 minutes and delivered a complete performance: 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals while shooting 7-for-17 from the field. It was the kind of all-around game that has defined his rise this season, a player who can score, facilitate, and bring energy when the team needs it most. Reaves had been on a clear path toward stardom before the injury hit, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. With LeBron James and several other key players sidelined, his absence left a noticeable gap in the Lakers' rotation. But on Monday, that spark returned. After the game, Reaves spoke candidly about the injury, his recovery process, and how it felt to finally be back on the floor. "I felt a little tweak early in the game," Reaves told Spectrum Sportsnet. "But I wanted to finish it and see how it felt afterward. We got a good win against Miami. They've been playing great basketball, so I just wanted to push through and reassess later. We did everything possible, treating it morning and night, trying to get back fast. I hate missing games. I really wanted to play in Atlanta, but everyone thought it was just a little too soon. So being back out there felt great. Honestly, I felt great, except for my shot." Groin injuries can be unpredictable and tricky to manage, so the fact that Reaves only missed 3 games is a relief for both him and the Lakers. Los Angeles managed to win the first 2 games of his absence but stumbled badly in Atlanta, starting a 5-game road trip on the wrong note. His return, then, couldn't have come at a better moment, both for the team's morale and its rhythm. Interestingly, Reaves' competitiveness and fiery edge have drawn comparisons to Luka Doncic, and not by accident. According to head coach J.J. Redick, the 2 stars have developed a surprising friendship built on that same drive to outdo each other. "I think they're in a great place," Redick said of the relationship between Doncic and Reaves. "It started early in training camp, maybe on our first or second trip, when they realized they both love to talk trash and challenge each other. Their personalities just click in that way. They feed off each other's energy, and that competitiveness has really built a natural chemistry between them." For the Lakers, that chemistry, and Reaves' renewed health, might be exactly what they need to stabilize the season. If Monday night was any indication, Austin Reaves isn't just back, he's ready to make up for lost time. Reaves' return comes at a crucial point in the Lakers' season. With the team navigating a tough stretch of road games and battling through inconsistent performances, his presence offers both stability and spark. The Lakers have struggled at times to find offensive rhythm when LeBron James and Anthony Davis are off the floor, and Reaves' ability to create shots, control tempo, and connect with teammates has become a defining factor in how the team operates. According to several players in the locker room, Reaves' energy immediately lifted the group. One veteran reportedly described his return as a jolt of confidence, highlighting how Reaves' unselfishness and composure bring balance to the floor. His ability to shift between playmaker and scorer allows the Lakers' offense to stay unpredictable, something that head coach J.J. Redick has emphasized since taking over. Redick, who has been vocal about accountability and cohesion, praised Reaves' approach since coming back from injury. "He didn't skip a beat," Redick said after the win. "You could tell he was locked in during his recovery, studying film, staying engaged with the team. That kind of commitment shows up in the way he plays. He makes the right reads, he plays with poise, and most importantly, he competes on every possession. For Reeves, it's not just about returning to form, it's about timing. The Lakers face a demanding slate over the next few weeks, including matchups against playoff-caliber teams from both conferences. His versatility gives Los Angeles the flexibility to experiment with smaller, faster lineups and maintain offensive flow even when the stars rest. The ripple effects of his comeback extend beyond the box score. Analysts have noted that Reeves' chemistry with Luka Doncic could be one of the emerging storylines of the season. The two young guards, both known for their high basketball IQ and competitive nature, have started to influence each other's games in subtle ways. Doncic through creativity and confidence, Reeves through his relentless work ethic and discipline. If Reeves can maintain his health and rhythm, his resurgence could be a turning point for a Lakers team still trying to define its identity. The combination of renewed energy, growing chemistry, and leadership from the team's younger core suggests Los Angeles may be entering one of its most promising phases of the season. The Los Angeles Lakers have officially provided a final injury update on Austin Reeves ahead of their Monday night matchup against the Charlotte Hornets, and it's good news for Lakers fans. After missing the past week with a right groin strain that sidelined him for 3 straight games, Reeves has been cleared to return to action, according to veteran Lakers insider Jovan Buha of The Athletic and Buha's block. While Reeves is back, the Lakers will still be without several key contributors. LeBron James, right-sided sciatic nerve irritation, Gabe Vincent, left ankle sprain, and rookie Adu Thiero knee recovery remain out. Lakers welcome back their breakout star. Reeves' return comes at an ideal time. Los Angeles faces a 3-6 Charlotte team that's missing both LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, though Miles Bridges is expected to play. Even so, the Lakers know better than to take any matchup for granted, especially while navigating through their own wave of injuries. Head coach J.J. Redick, now in his second season leading the team, has had to get creative with his rotations. With LeBron sidelined and several role players banged up, Redick has leaned heavily on his remaining starters, particularly Luka Doncic and DeAndre Ayton, to keep the offense flowing. Reeves' return should immediately help shoulder that burden. The 26-year-old guard has taken a major leap this season, emerging as both a scoring threat and secondary playmaker. Before his injury, he was averaging an eye-popping 31.1 points, 9.3 assists, 5.1 rebounds, and 1.4 steals per game, shooting 48.9% from the field, 34.4% from deep, and 90.3% from the free throw line. In the 7 games he played prior to getting hurt, Reeves' offensive command helped propel Los Angeles to a 7-3 record and kept them in the upper tier of the Western Conference standings. His chemistry with Doncic has been particularly striking. The duo's ability to interchange playmaking duties has made the Lakers' offense far more unpredictable and dynamic. Holding steady without Reeves and LeBron. Despite being shorthanded, the Lakers managed to go 2-1 last week, including a gritty 123-115 win over the Portland Trail Blazers that came without Reeves, Doncic, or LeBron James, a testament to Redick's adaptability and the team's depth. Role players like Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart have stepped up admirably, combining tough defense with timely shooting to keep Los Angeles competitive. The team's resilience during this stretch has not gone unnoticed. Even within the locker room, players have emphasized how proud they are of maintaining their composure under pressure. What comes next? According to the Lakers' official statement, Reeves will return directly to the starting lineup, joining Luka Doncic, Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. For Los Angeles, getting Reeves back is about more than just numbers, it's about rhythm. His presence brings structure to the half-court offense and stability in late-game situations, areas where the team has occasionally struggled without him or LeBron. Redick emphasized after practice that Reeves' conditioning remains strong and that he's been participating in full-speed scrimmages for several days. "Austin's a worker," Redick said. "He's been dying to get back out there. His energy, his voice, his composure, those are things we've really missed." The Lakers will tip off against the Hornets at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, looking to improve their record to 8-3. And while LeBron's eventual return looms large, getting Reeves back in the mix could be just the spark Los Angeles needs to keep climbing the standings in a fiercely competitive Western Conference. If his early season form is any indication, Austin Reeves isn't just returning from injury, he's returning ready to remind everyone why he's become one of the most vital pieces of the Lakers' championship puzzle. Reeves' comeback also carries a deeper layer of significance within the Lakers' locker room. His absence, while temporary, revealed just how much the team depends on his versatility and composure on both ends of the floor. Multiple teammates have pointed out that Reeves' ability to blend selfless playmaking with aggressive scoring is what often stabilizes Los Angeles during turbulent stretches. Sources close to the team noted that Reeves remained deeply involved even while sidelined, attending practices, film sessions, and team meetings to maintain his rhythm and chemistry with Doncic and Reddick's evolving system. His leadership presence, though quiet, has become increasingly valued among the coaching staff. Defensively, the Lakers are also expecting his return to make a difference. Reeves' improved lateral quickness and discipline in pick-and-roll coverage have been evident this season, especially when tasked with defending opposing guards and wings. Assistant coach Darvin Ham praised his progress earlier this week, emphasizing that Austin has reached the point where he not only fits in our defensive schemes, he elevates them. There's also the question of how his return might affect the Lakers' offensive balance. In recent games, Luka Doncic has carried a heavy playmaking load, averaging nearly 37 minutes per game and leading the team in both points and assists. With Reeves back, Reddick now has the luxury to stagger their minutes, ensuring that at least one high-level creator is always on the floor. That shift could help the Lakers manage fatigue and maintain offensive flow in second units, where consistency has been a recurring issue. Analysts around the league have taken notice of how Los Angeles is slowly refining its identity under Reddick. ESPN's Zach Lowe noted in a recent segment that the Lakers finally look like a team with a system, not just a collection of stars, crediting the synergy between Doncic, Reeves, and Smart as the foundation of a modern motion-heavy offense built on spacing and secondary playmakers. Still, with LeBron James sidelined indefinitely, the Lakers' margin for error remains thin. Upcoming matchups against tougher opponents, including the Denver Nuggets and Dallas Mavericks, will test whether this team can sustain its balance without their veteran leader. Reeves' return provides an emotional lift, but the challenge ahead is steep, maintaining momentum while reintegrating key players into a lineup that's been in constant flux. Inside the locker room, though, optimism is building. Players describe the atmosphere as focused but hungry, and Reddick's approach has earned widespread respect for emphasizing accountability over excuses. As Reeves put it after Sunday's practice, "We've all had to adapt. Injuries are part of the game, but this group doesn't fold. We compete, we trust each other, and we're building something that's bigger than any one player." The Lakers' upcoming homestand could prove pivotal. With Reeves back and a clearer sense of rhythm forming, Los Angeles now faces an opportunity to solidify its identity, not just as a team defined by stars, but as a group capable of evolving through adversity. How well they seize that moment may determine whether this season becomes another uphill battle or the start of a genuine championship run.